So, by the way, I think one of your policies would result in a huge growth in big government and putting people on the dole. We can get to that in a minute.
Okay. Okay, which go ahead.
Banning divorce.
Oh, I changed my mind on that actually.
Well, wait a minute.
That one
So
I changed my
everything you
mind.
said,
Yeah, yeah.
wait a minute. So what you're saying is everything
Mhm.
you said in the past is either untrue or doesn't bear the same amount of weight as the opinion that you're now carrying. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that I used to believe in banning divorce and then I decided that was a bad idea.
Uh-huh. And why is that?
Um I don't think you should force people to be together. I guess like I liked it in theory and then I thought about it more and I was just like, no, I know some people that are in some terrible marriages that just they would be miserable for a lifetime if they stayed together. It's like yeah, that was kind of the thought process that I had.
Okay. So what you're saying, and I agree with you, but
Yeah.
what you're saying is people living together who are unhappy, taking away, enforcing that is no longer, is not, preserving that is no longer as important as protecting the family and protecting children. You're putting individual happiness above preserving the family, which I thought was one of your fundamental values. The family is the building block of society. Now you're
Yeah.
saying, no, it's personal happiness.
Yeah, I know it kind of conflicts a little bit if I'm being honest, but it's just
Conflicts a lot.
So
yeah.
you're one of those swinging voters then.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess. No, because I don't know. I've seen, especially like interviewing like doing the divorce documentary. It's like I'll interview guys that have been in a sexless marriage for like 5 years, right? Their
Get
wives
it?
gained like I think 80% of women gain 20 pounds in the first 5 years, something like that. And I'm just like, and they're forced to do that for life. So I know it
Hey,
kinda conflicts, but I changed my
I'm,
opinion on it.
listen,
Yeah.
throughout my 30-year career, I've been the last person to advocate for marriage. If you want to do it, go ahead and do it. I
Yeah.
believe that humans are not hardwired for monogamy.
Yeah.
I believe that marriage is an institution that is based on a fantasy that you can love the same person for the rest of your life. And it's based on the idea that one person can be your best friend, can be your most passionate lover, can be your best guide, your best spouse. It's a fantasy. And it's also based on a 2,000, 3,000 year old practice. It was basically
Mhm.
a property exchange. I used to date, tell you a funny story. I used to date a travel nurse from Kenya. That was her culture. She was from the Kikuyu tribe. And she said to me one day, Ross, if you want to marry me, you have to give my father 100 goats. And I said, first, this is a true story. I said, first of all, John B, I'm never going to marry you. And second, I don't know where to get goats. And third, I ain't giving anybody 100 goats. So it was a property exchange. You
Mhm.
got the property of the wife, the woman, in exchange for getting some good, that was the dowry. It was something that was given to the family that you were marrying into. So it's all based on stuff that no longer, I think if you want to do it, great. But it's just not a choice I would ever make. I would only do it if I wanted to have children. And even then, I just have never been a
Yeah.
proponent of it.
Yeah, I no, it's interesting because my views have evolved a little bit. I would still say I'm pro marriage, but like I don't know how you could argue it's a natural institution if it's so hard for people to do. Like the data is just not on our side when you think about it. It's like what percent of people are happy after 50 years or like and
I've only
even
seen,
yeah.
I agree, Pearl. I've only seen three happy marriages. One is in my family, and the other two were between psychotherapists who told me, I said, how are you even possibly happy after 30 years of marriage? They said, we use our skills as therapists and we work on it every day, and we don't have unrealistic expectations.
Mm.
So I'm glad you changed.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
But
changed
the
that.
but the issue is it's like I do think parents together is better for children and it seems like all the issues in society come from single mother homes, you know.
Wow, that's oh no, no, hold all
Yeah.
of them?
Yeah.
All of them?
Okay, not
That's a
every not
gross. Wait a minute. This is how you think. This is why
Yeah.
I don't like how you think,
Okay.
because this is not nuanced thinking, and you tend to way overgeneralize and not engage in nuanced thinking.
Yeah,
There's
but
a lot of issues
I
that are
guess
hurting
but I guess in
society.
order to have conversations, we have to, like, speak in generalities. So I always
All
say
right.
I know there's exceptions, right? But it's like when you look at criminals and 80% come from single mother homes. When you look at school shooters, a lot of them tend to come from single mother homes. And then you look at single father homes, they fare almost the same as two-parent homes. It's like you just kind of start to look I look for patterns and trends.
I'm not in favor of I'm not in favor of single parenthood
Yeah.
when there's no hear me out. I'm
Okay.
not in favor of single parenthood where there's no possibility of the other parent participating in co-raising the child. I get what you're saying. If they just disappear, and I don't want to get you banned from YouTube entirely as well as demonetized,
Okay.
we could get into the cultural aspects of that. That's partially a cultural thing, and I'm
Right.
not going to get into it because that will get you kicked off YouTube. I don't want you to do that, but I think you know where I'm going with it.
No, I
Um,
actually I don't, but
okay,
like what the
all right.
culture talking about will get you kicked off.
There's certain cultures, I
Mm.
can't name them for the sake of wanting to keep you on YouTube, where the prevalence of the mother or even the grandmother raising the child is
Oh,
far more prevalent than in
yeah.
other ones. And you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
okay, I know.
So, okay, you know what I'm
Okay,
talking
yeah.
about,
Yeah.
right?
But so do you I guess cuz with the marriage thing cuz my thought process was, it's better for the children, but I don't know. Then I started interviewing people in these miserable marriages. I was like, okay, I
Well,
might
it's
need
not
to
only,
second
it's
guess
not
this
necessarily,
opinion. Go ahead.
yeah, it's not necessarily better for the children because if you think about it,
Yeah.
and you're right about something. I would watch you in an interview and you corrected someone quite accurately.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of domestic violence that happens in families. 25% of it, both partners are being abused. Both
Mhm.
partners are being violently abused. That's not good for children to watch either. That's not something that
Yeah.
children should be watching. So that's an argument again that family isn't necessarily the best way to go either.